I will jump into my NFL recap for this week. And we start in the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady prevail over the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And Tom Brady is heading to his 10th Super Bowl in 20 seasons. He is now, the stat is he will have played in 18% of all Super Bowls ever, which is just absurd. And he now has as many NFC championship wins as both Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees at one. But just unbelievable. He somehow just manages to win. And
How do you manage?
I yeah, and I don't think necessarily the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won this game. It felt more like the Packers lost this game. And the biggest story of this game was the turnovers. Once again, the Buccaneers, 14 points off of 2 turnovers. Packers only get 6 points off of 3 turnovers. So there's a huge discrepancy there. And the MVP for the Buccaneers was Packers' number 2 cornerback, Kevin King. He was beat in coverage late in the second half for a touchdown to Scotty Miller on the last play of the first half. The Buccaneers take a 21-10 lead at that point. He was run over by Leonard Fournette for the second touchdown of the game. He was beat by Mike Evans in the corner of the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. And then Packers need a stop late in the fourth quarter, and he gets called for pass interference on the game-ending play. So Kevin King with 4 times the victim in the football game, and I don't think he'll be back in Green Bay next season. So really tough night for him. And yeah, he wouldn't have been put in that position though to make that pass interference if Matt LaFleur had gone for the touchdown instead of kicking the field goal down 8. It makes no sense. Either way, you need a stop on defense. I don't understand at all what was going through his head. Aaron Rodgers even said so himself. He didn't he didn't attempt to run for a touchdown on that third down play because he thought they had another shot at it. And then LaFleur kicks a field goal. They don't end up getting the stop. And it was baffling. It was truly baffling. The other thing you got to be upset about if you're a Green Bay Packers fan is that pass interference committed by Kevin King looked awfully similar to the play that was made by Sean Murphy Bunting at the end of the first half, where he kind of tugged on the shoulder pad of Marquez Valdes-Scantling over the middle, or was it Alan Lazard? One of those guys. And Bunting comes up with the pick, no penalty flag thrown, and that's what leads to the Buccaneers touchdown to finish the half. So it was a huge swing in points, and there was 2 of those possibly holding calls missed on the side of the Buccaneers. So Packers fans got to be upset with the inconsistency of the reffing to make that call on probably the most crucial play of the game and then not make that call earlier in the game. But besides that, we got to see Rodgers and Brady air the ball out. Brady's 3 interceptions will probably be swept under the rug, but they may come to haunt the Buccaneers 2 weeks from now in the big game. Aaron Rodgers had that 1 interception. We'll kind of throw that away because of the possible holding that could have been called. And besides that, he was really, really good. Aaron Jones went out in the first half after getting lit up by Jordan Whitehead. Both players got injured on that play. And it was just the turnovers that kind of separated. Turnovers and Kevin King were the story of this game. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, man, 1-4 in NFC championship games. You've only ever had one at home, and now you lose that one. And it was definitely a winnable game for the Packers, and some soft play calling near the end. And we don't know what the future holds for him. This was his kind of last ride. They traded up to draft a quarterback in the first round this year, Jordan Love, and Rodgers was not happy about that. So he was on the revenge tour of the season. He'll probably win the MVP, but it once again ends in heartbreak for the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers only with 1 Super Bowl. Maybe he will be looking for another team this season, which would be weird. It would be very, very weird. I think there's going to be a bit of quarterback carousel this offseason.
Is his contract up, or you think he'd just ask for a trade?
I think he just asks out. Him and LaFleur had some issues last year. Obviously not this year, but at some point, the marriage has got to end, and that's either with a retirement or a trade.
Who retires after winning MVP and not winning Super Bowl?
Well, some people don't have a choice. The NFL comes at you quickly. There are guys who have retired at halftime just because they've gotten lit up on a play and they just know they're done. But there will be some movement because Deshaun Watson's out there. Matthew Stafford said he wanted out of Detroit. I don't know if the Dolphins are satisfied with Tua Tagovailoa. You got Sam Darnold out there. There's going to be some quarterbacks moving around this offseason, so definitely some intrigue to follow the NFL as it progresses past the big NFL championship 2 weeks from now.
Well, you'll finally have some non-football weeks or non-football game weeks to delve into that stuff soon.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's move on to the nightcap. And I got to say, the games were fun, but a little disappointing. Like, we still haven't really had an instant classic in these playoffs. And this game was no exception. The Kansas City Chiefs offense was unstoppable. The only way the Bills really scored was they got a field goal to start the game, and then they were able to stop Kansas City. And basically the one time they stop Kansas City, they get the ball back, they have to punt. McCole Hardman muffs the punt, leads to a fumble, and the Bills score on the next play on a touchdown. They missed the extra point, so they start out 9-0. And then it's 21-9. And then the Chiefs it's just craziness. Like, they cannot be stopped. Tyreek Hill had an unreal play where he catches a crossing route over the middle and then just beats 4 guys in space because he's just so fast and hard to tackle. Travis Kelce had 13 catches for 120 yards. Like, they just have so many weapons, and they got a touchdown to McCole Hardman after he had fumbled the punt just to kind of build up his confidence. And Patrick Mahomes, how can anyone ever forget? He is the best quarterback in the league right now. He makes every throw possible. He makes every read. He does just enough to kind of keep things moving. And the Chiefs, like, I don't know how you don't bet on the Chiefs for this next game, because they are unstoppable, and they've been that way now for 2 consecutive seasons. There's not really much to say. Buffalo had some kind of soft play calling similar to Matt LaFleur. They had some field goals. You can't beat the Chiefs with field goals. Once it gets to 4th down in the second half and you're already losing, you kind of got to go for it, because if you give the ball back to the Chiefs and you've only scored a field goal, they're going to go and put up 7, and you can't beat 7s with 3s. So yeah, it was a fantastic run for the Bills Mafia. Up here in Canada, people were jumping in on the tradition because they are our closest neighbor geographically, and there are some Bills fandom here up north, and it was a fun ride. My 5-year-old cousin is now going to be a Bills fan for life because he hopped on the train. This is probably the first football he's ever consumed, so that was fun. He was telling me his favorite player was Cole Beasley. Very cute. But that's it. They'll be back. They're still a young team, young core. Josh Allen is still progressing, and they'll definitely be back, but it will be fun to watch the Bills and the Chiefs go at it for the next 5 years. All right.
Before we go, then, you have, I guess, a week and a half to sit back and get your preview ready. But on your gut, you've got the unstoppable Mahomes and the Bucs, who have won off interceptions and turnovers, it sounds like, in their last. Do we get even close to that instant classic you're hoping for, or just another Chiefs blowout?
Well, the way I could see it becoming an instant classic is if the Chiefs do their classic thing in the playoffs and give up a big early lead and then just score on every possession following. If this game is going to be a classic, it's going to be a quarterback duel between Brady and Mahomes, which is what everyone would love to see.
Past versus present.
Yeah, exactly. And they are all time 2-2 against each other. I just don't know if Brady has that left. Like, he needed to be special, and he wasn't today, but the Bucs defense bailed him out, and some bad play calling from Matt LaFleur bailed him out. He had interceptions, 2 interceptions in 7 pass attempts. He had gone 2 for 9 to start the second half. I don't know. I don't know if he has that same on switch that puts him up another level to match with Mahomes, who now will have 2 weeks to get completely healthy with the head and the toe, which already looked to not bother him, but now he's got 2 weeks to get healthy. This Chiefs team, I don't know how you go against them. They're just too good, and it hurts me in my soul as a Broncos fan.
How crazy is that going into the second half down 20, the Chiefs are still probably the favorites.
Yeah. And it will reflect in the lines as they come out closer and closer to game time. We have the Pro Bowl next week. It won't be played due to COVID, so they just have a Pro Bowl celebration. I probably won't break that down. The Pro Bowl is pretty boring. Yeah, and because it doesn't happen in the midst of the season, you can kind of avoid talking about it. So there probably won't be any football next weekend unless we get some news. But yeah, that wraps up the championship weekend, and looking forward to the game that comes next. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back for some Combat Corner.